Inside of you are two wolves. One is a nice low speed, high glide fairway driver, neutral flyer, easy to throw, beginner friendly. Who doesn't love that? And the other is a very high speed, max distance, wide rimmed distance driver of pure testosterone and manliness. That's right, today we are taking a look at MVP's two new releases. We have what I just described as the Eagle McMahon Neutron Streamline engine. It's been a long time coming for the engine. And speaking of long time coming, we also have the Axiom Simon Line Neutron Bokeh. Two discs that were PDGA approved long ago finally get their first retail releases. We got Simon, we got Eagle, which means we're gonna have a fun time out on the course today. I haven't thrown him yet, but I'm excited to check him out, so let's go do that. So the Bokeh is kind of a callback to an old Simon Lizotte favorite, the Discmania FD, which I will be comparing the Bokeh to today. I got this fun one in C-line, nice little squirrel stamp on it. And I love the FD. It's a great straight flying fairway driver, tons of glide. Just comparing the profiles of the Bokeh and the FD, it is basically identical. They are very, very similar, which should come as no surprise considering the fact that they should fly pretty similar as well. Yes, woo! Really straight flyer, tons of glide, a little bit of fade at the end. That's pretty much what you'd come to expect. All right, first ever throw, I like it already. Now Eagle's new Streamline engine is something totally different. High-speed distance driver with the numbers 13.5, negative 0.5 turn to fade. Now when I hear Eagle McMahon distance driver, I'm expecting something super overstable, but the numbers make me think this is gonna be a little bit more on the neutral side, despite being really wide rimmed, which would be cool. You know, the last Eagle distance driver that came out, I think was the Plasma Dimensions, and those scarred me because those things were so crazy overstable. I literally could not even throw those. I'm hoping I get better results from the engine. And it's coming back. Yeah, it's got that overstability, hits the tree. All right, that throw makes me curious about what's to come with that disc. And these two discs were sent to me by this channel's sponsor, Disc Golf Deals USA. And by the way, you can use my link in the description below to get 10% off your entire order, no matter what you get at Disc Golf Deals USA. When they were ordered, I didn't know what they were gonna look like, but we got the Bokeh here. I love the blue-purple combo. We got the swirls in the purple rim. Neutron, always a great plastic. I really like the Streamline engine though. The swirly Neutron in this Streamline engine is super cool. Also, this stamp, I know some people probably think it's a little too edgy. I disagree. I love this. I love that they leaned into the very metal themes, part of the Archetype series, the Warrior. And of course, the latte art. Not as big of a fan of the latte art despite my love for lattes, but it's fine, it's decent. And by the way, I'm just gonna get out ahead of it. I'm pronouncing it Bokeh because Simon says it's a play on words from mocha latte, Bokeh latte. I know there's a bunch of different ways to pronounce it. I'm not getting into those arguments. I'm just gonna say Bokeh, leave it at that. 265-foot par 3 basket, it's right there. Should be perfect for the Bokeh with its really straight flight. Nice and straight, threw it really low, but it's still getting all the way up there, right onto the hill. Not a great throw, but we're still well inside of circle one there. Let's see if we can go engine on the forehand. I like it, come on out, come on out. Yeah, oh yeah. Woo, that, oh boy, that was close to an ace, wasn't it? That huge skip off of the engine, that's freaking sick. My forehand is usually mega trash, so even a passing good forehand, I am pretty happy with, but it shows that it definitely has some overstability on that engine to get that big flare skip at the end. Whereas the Bokeh, I really like how, even though I threw it really low, the glide carried us to here where we're only like 16, 17 feet away from the basket. Now we're gonna be throwing from on top of the world, 936 foot par 5, the behemoth. I think the Bokeh is gonna be a great choice here because we can have distance and also keep it in the middle of the fairway to really help our second shot. There we go, just holding the line. I love that about it. like a baby amount of flip to kind of keep it in the air, but just such a straight flyer, which is really what the FD is known for. Yeah, see the same exact flight. When I put it on a little bit of hyzer, just held that hyzer the entire time. The height was a little bit different, but literally the exact same line, or at least exact same flight as that Bokeh. That's really cool. I think they did a great job of taking what's great about the FD and porting it into gyro. So we're gonna throw this second shot for my FD, because the Bokeh, because I threw it on hyzer and got some air under it, we drifted off to the left. Not because it's overstable at all, but just because it held the angle that we started it on. And I was a little bit worried that this would have a little bit more understability, or if I put it out flat on a hole like this, I was worried we'd see a lot of drift to the right, maybe end up in the right of the fairway here in the trees. But instead, so far, it just holds whatever angle we started on. So I gotta trust it flat a little bit more. Look at that, just so straight. Little bit of fade, a little bit of checkup at the end, but that's really nice. I think that because I've thrown the Crave so much, and the Crave does have that little bit of understability, where I feel like I have to throw it on hyzer to get the straight flight because it flips up. The Bokeh is definitely less understable than the Crave, at least the Neutron Crave that I normally throw. Bokeh I can definitely trust to not flip as much. Yeah, I got a nice skip for us, come on. There's a lot of sand up there, which I think kind of mitigated our skip. And I got a lot of questions on my video last week where I compared 10 T-Bird style discs to see which one I like the most. Got a lot of questions about the Bokeh and whether or not I feel like it would be in that same category as the T-Bird. But the Bokeh is definitely like a half step less overstable than something like the T-Bird or other discs of that style. A little bit straighter, less of a checkup at the end of the flight. Isn't gonna fight out of like an Anheuser angle as much. Like that's the Bokeh on the Anheuser. It just holds it the entire time. Doesn't even think about coming out of that angle. Just sails, holds it. Whereas a new T-Bird or Eagle or Athena, Sagara type of disc, it would hold the angle for most of the flight, but it would be wanting to fight out. And on a throw like that, probably would fight out at the end. You'd see a little bit of fade. Whereas on the Bokeh, you don't really see any fade. Now we're gonna go engine. Definitely is not gonna hold the angle that I started on. This one is definitely going to be fighting out. It's got some good glide, but there's just so much overstability at the end to the point where for me, this doesn't really fly any differently than just your typical destroyer type disc with those like 12.5, -1.3 style numbers. That doesn't make it bad. I was just expecting something with a more mild finish at the end, considering the fact that they're marketing this as having less fade, 2 fade versus 3 fade. And let's actually compare that to this Infinite Discs Halo Pharaoh that I've been throwing, which almost has the same numbers. I believe it's 13.6 -1.2 for the Pharaoh. It's a little bit lighter. This one is 169 grams versus the Engine, which is max weight. And this one is more worn in, but let me just show you the difference here, because this is gonna have a much different flight. See, that's gonna hold the Anheuser all the way. These Pharaohs, which have very similar numbers, are a lot more flippy than something like this Engine. I thought this Engine, I didn't think it was going to be as flippy as the Pharaoh, but I thought it was going to be less overstable than what it actually is. So for me, I just prefer my max distance discs to be a little bit more on the understable side than something like this. But I'm also under no illusions about how far I throw. I'm someone where if I throw over 400, I'm pretty pumped about that. That doesn't happen every day. Whereas if you are someone who's throwing 400 plus on the regular, a disc like this will probably still be overstable, but it'll be a controllable overstable, and you'll still be able to see that glide and get a nice flight out of it and get some distance. But now we're gonna go Bokeh on the Anheuser and just have it drift to the right. Basket, you probably can't see it, but it's off to the right. Just trust me. There is river all left, so we can't fade out. So I'm gonna trust that this is going to follow the angle that I put it on. I put on a little bit too much anhyzer, played a little bit too safe, but still got nice distance there. It's gonna be a circle 2 putt, probably just a little bit outside of circle 1. Yeah, this ended up being pretty nice actually. Just a little bit outside of circle 1. That little bit of overstability at the end of the flight gives it that integrity to not just turn into a roller, even when I give it a little bit too much anhyzer. Like, I feel like my crave, had I done that, because it's flippier, probably would have ended up quite a bit further back. Well, all that hard work for nothing. Not nothing, we got par. Par is respectable. So now we're on hole 18, 810 foot par 5 with a bunch of water hazards, which means we might throw these discs into the creek, never to see them again. And if you're a fan of the Bokeh or the engine, if you've thrown them yet, or you've just been watching people like me throw them, let me know what you think of them down below in the comments. Are you gonna pick one up? Are you gonna skip this release? Let me know what your thoughts are. A little bit of a headwind. Oh, that headwind. That's doing a number. I mean, that's gonna be a solid throw because we got decent distance, but it was just getting pushed to the right. That's gonna be fine. Not an ideal place, but not bad either. Ooh, that was a little bit scary. That's a great spot for shot number 3. We're still a little ways out, and we gotta cross the river twice to get to the basket. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's kind of tucked in on the right, but I think we can hit Bokeh on some anhyzer and just have it carry us to the right. Hold, I put it so high, they need to be lower. If that was low, I would have loved it. Instead, I only like it. That's fine. It's gonna be easy peasy par. So the Bokeh engine, both great discs. The engine is a little bit more overstable than I expected, and the Bokeh is pretty much exactly what I wanted, given the numbers and all the marketing. Oh, and honestly, I'm gonna have to put some deep thought into whether or not I'm gonna be bagging the Bokeh. I'm not totally sure yet. I love the straight flight. I love that it is straighter than my T-Bird, but also complements it well, where the T-Bird has a little bit more overstability at the end of the flight. And a brand new T-Bird, even more so, is definitely gonna be more overstable. But this is just such a good angle holding disc that it's the type of disc I would recommend to pretty much everyone. Like, you kind of need this type of disc in your bag, whether that be the FD or the Bokeh or the River or something like that. You know, there's some good options out there, but the Bokeh is a really nice one. And the engine, maybe I would bag it as just, you know, my overstable distance driver, but I feel like it's not a huge departure from a lot of other destroyer type discs before it, which isn't a bad thing. It just means that there's already a lot of discs that I feel like could fill this slot for me, but none have the very cool stamp. This stamp, it's a real winner for me. The gray swirls, can't get over how much I like the look of that disc. Really cool. Anyways, if you enjoyed watching this video, I'd appreciate if you consider liking and subscribing. We're almost to 4,000 subscribers, which would be awesome. So if you haven't joined the Flying Fajita family yet, today is the day to do so. You can also follow me on Instagram at Flying Fajita Disc Golf or UDisc Community at Flying Fajita. As always, guys, I love you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.